Okay, so we're back with another video. This time I've set the AI to brain dead, but we're going to have real build times. Working on my build order and understanding of a lot of the strategy. It's actually pretty good to focus your economy, at least in PvE early game, as fast as you can, as hard as you can. You get the extra guy on this actually. Get exosuit labor. So today's piece on the agenda is going to be talking about tanks. So we've added 4 of the 10 tanks that are going to be in the game, and they've given me a pretty good sample of what tanks are going to be like. What I would say about tanks with everything we have so far is oppressive is the word that comes to mind. You know, if you just have standard riflemen lying around, if you have an enemy you're dealing with that is using like mechs, you know, you can deal with all but the heaviest of mechs with pretty common infantry. However, you have to deal with tanks. Like even a medium grade tank is as armored as the heaviest armored mech. So that's kind of a defining feature for them. In fact, burning through our energy pretty generously here. This model is really terrible, but we're gonna just use that as the symbolic idea of what we're working with. And boom! All right, excellent. It's always the hard part because solar on this planet sucks ass. Way too fast of a day and night cycle to be worth it. Well, of course, it's obviously very good to crunch out a few nice and early game. This is why it's good to focus on building as much as you can on this planet, and there's a great reason why this planet is maybe not great for player versus player competition. Like, let's get a, sorry, I changed the hotkey for this. Yeah, let's get a mech facility in here while we're at it. We get our usual lineup of guys. We'll get the raider, the rifleman, the sniper, the machine gunner, the armorman. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Yeah. You have a Dauntless, a Riptide, a Hellsteed, and a Doomsday. There's, yeah, 4 we have so far. So far we can see we have the Dauntless. This thing is almost like a buggy. It's kind of like APC in shape, but boy, it's very dinky and minimalist. And that's kind of its job. It's pretty fast. This is the fastest any tank will ever be. Is about this fast. Don't mind this guy. You can currently walk up cliffs because I haven't set a fallback for what to do when you have no path. And these guys are actually incapable of going up these steep hills. So that kind of sucks ass. Anyways, that's another dude I'm gonna have to deal with in a minute here. So the Dauntless's weaponry is actually very short range and extremely ammo efficient. This thing is actually pumping out a lot of rounds downrange, and it's not having really any amount of ammo used. That's kind of its benefit, is it's a little laser buggy. You know, it just has short range X-ray lasers, which are pretty sweet. However, they are undeniably maybe not the best. They are not capable of destroying buildings outright. They are non-destructive weapons, as they're called. But they are capable of potentially damaging some vehicles on the lightest end, and especially infantry, and that's kind of what their specialized is doing. It's meant to move fast, not need lots of resupply, and do a lot of damage to infantry. That guy cut down pretty easily. If we look at like what we're dealing with in return, you know, this is a very familiar situation. This is like what we talked about last time. Armorman knocks pretty good chunk out of him. Machine gunner probably does like a bullet. Yeah, 2 points of damage per bullet. Sniper rifle knocks a big chunk out of him. Rifleman probably does like 3 damage a bullet. Yeah. And then the Raider just does literally nothing. So this is very similar to a medium armored mech for these light end tanks. And yeah, the Dauntless is a pretty good starter. It's like, yeah, it's your early game-ish. Like, I'm dealing with an infantry type unit. You step that up a notch by upgrading to the Riptide, which is currently misnamed in localization. I really have to fucking fix that. Anyways, so the Riptide is very similar in principle, but very different for a couple reasons. It's very similar in speed, but it's way higher in cost. It has way more range, and its biggest difference is it goes through ammo like candy, to the point I'm not going to demonstrate very quickly. So let's get a militia member out here. And this thing has twin railguns that are a particular design that's meant to be rapid fired, specifically at about 1100 rounds per minute. So this is like light vehicles and infantry just get absolutely shredded by this thing. And we just went through like an eighth of our ammo almost. So this thing just absolutely spews lead, and it moves pretty fast. I mean, it could use better maneuvering. It turns less than the Dauntless because it actually has like the hovercraft turning. Um, but it's very similar in some respects. Um, Two very interesting entry level options. The Riptide will obviously kill scores more infantry. Another downside of the Riptide, however, is that it's very squishy. If we take just a rifleman, actually, let's take an SMG guy. No, apparently I'm missing. Maybe he still doesn't do damage. Damn, that guy really sucks. Let's try rifleman. Oh right, this guy hovers. Yeah, we can't shoot him because he hovers. Fuck. Yeah, we don't have a solution to that because we can't attack allies. I put in a friendly fire blocker for the time being. Anyways, this guy's like 5 armor. He has about as much armor as a Thunderbolt, so he gets really fucked up really easily. Probably gonna have to do some tweaking to get this guy a little bit better. But the main thing is, if you deploy like a line of Dauntlesses, or sorry, not Dauntless, but a line of Riptides against like just enemy infantry, it's a massacre. It's ridiculous. They're again quite specialized. But now we have the Hellsteed, again by Mars Tech. This is like a full-on, proper, full-size APC. It really shows how dinky the fucking Dauntless is by comparison. This thing is an absolute motherfucker and a half. Remember the Thunderbolt from last video, or the video before that, perhaps. The Thunderbolt had twin autocannons of like a low medium caliber that did pretty good damage just because they had a high armor piercing value and a high quantity of fire. Well, this is literally like take that same dual autocannon setup, make it one autocannon, give it more ammo, and up the caliber a little bit. So a little bit better range, a little bit armor piercing, a little bit better damage per shot, and you have this thing. And this thing is pretty equally capable. That knocks chunks out of infantry pretty alright. Against other vehicles, though, oh my gosh, no reduction in firepower. This thing just shreds stuff. Really wonderful. We take this over to the Riptide. Oh my goodness. Whoops. No, Riptide is still too high for us to shoot, apparently. Should we keep bumping into it? Jesus. Yeah, so we're not going to be able to hit that guy with this either. But obviously this is pretty good. And now this is still medium armor. So, we take this out with the guys. We're still doing pretty reasonable amounts of damage with small arms. Not tremendous amounts for the Hellsteed. But, enough that it's measurable at least. And then lastly, we have the Doomsday, which I just freshly nerfed off of heavy armor. Or so not off of medium tank armor onto light tank armor. That's because this thing is a fucking menace. As the visual vaguely implies, this has auto artillery as the weaponry. So you can just pump a lot of rounds down range with this, and these are twin guns. So you can just really AoE the crap out of an area and cause a lot of damage in very little time. Which makes this a verifiably terrifying weapon to have to face in combat. So that was XQ versus CQ. Still getting used to the muscle memory. Some more ammo to reload this guy. Yeah, no, this thing is... The Doomsday really lives up to the name. It is slow moving. It is... it could be healthier for its cost. One of these is like 1200 energy and 12 morale. Quite a lot of cost involved. And its turning is not great either. This thing just kind of sucks in general. However, God forbid you get given the time of day. This thing will absolutely fucking wreck whatever you're shooting. So, again, we nerf this armor. Same deal as always. We don't have any truly medium armor tanks left. But you can see that, we're able to do small amounts of damage with small arms. The larger health pool is already oppressive enough. It didn't need the extra armor. But this thing takes its shot in return. We take a shot over here. Oh my goodness. Already just knocking out scores of guys almost instantaneously. Yeah, this thing costs a fortune. In fact, this costs like 2 fusion reactors, which is like 2/3 of my current energy economy to make one of these. They are very expensive. But Jesus, they do work. They are terrifying little sons of bitches. But now we have to talk about like the interfaction play. We're talking about like how we have the comparable factions. How do these comparable factions of similar cost work? because the tank factory and the mech facilities cost ostensibly the same amount to get your hands on. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to hit the hovercraft as per always. But we take the matchup here. So we take a combat suit versus the Dauntless. Combat suit does absolutely fuck all, truly nothing at all to the Dauntless. But oh my goodness, it's mutual. These two anti-infantry specialists are useless at killing each other. But they're also both quite cheap from the respective factories, so we can't be too upset about that. And that's, we know this cost table is going to work for like health after this, but take the egg, the Hemming Arms Marathon. This thing out against, I don't know, like the Hellsteed. Yeah, knocking pretty good chunks out of it. Not terrible. We'd look for the Hellsteed returning fire. Does a little more damage per second. That's because the Hellsteed is a little more expensive. Overall, they're both pretty good weapons, though. I'm going to take this guy against, even like a, something big like this, it still is pretty good damage. So once you're getting like a serious entry-level mech, that's not so bad. But if we go against some of these other mechs with the shotgun, it's actually still doing okay damage due to its armor-piercing nature. But meanwhile, you return fire with, I don't know, let's have the Doomsday Fire on this guy in return. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, just absolutely chunking that guy. Blowing him to bits in, like, no time at all. Honestly, I think the Thunderbolt is capable of shooting the hovercraft. It might be the only one. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, the Thunderbolt absolutely shreds that hovercraft at light speed. And also probably does pretty good damage to a lot of other stuff as well. Yeah, this is still like a very competitive DPS option, but obviously it's incredibly fragile and would be very easily ruined by a lot of other things in the fray. Oh, interesting. Oh, right, we're doing force fire, so we can't shoot flying targets. Damn. Oh, well. But anyways, you kind of get the idea, right? We do have, like, in terms of peer-to-peer, these guys have a pretty decent matchup. The mechs have, at their best of times, more firepower. The tanks, at the best of times, have more armor, and that's kind of the dichotomy. Mechs also have some possible utility with things like the Auslander's jump. That's pretty useful. But that's all we're really doing for now, anyways. I'll be doing some reporting back after I update pathfinding to be able to account for these big, chunky-ass fucking tanks trying to move everywhere. Trying to move up shit they can't, and trying to, move around shit they can't. The two big problems we're gonna have with these fucking things. And this is, the Doomsday is basically a 2x2 in size, like, almost perfectly. Look at the two tiles here. Like, that's basically exactly our size. So this thing is, the pathfinding just isn't equipped to handle it. Anyways, that's all for today.